The rain hadn't let up for hours. Cold sheets of water slammed against the pavement of New York City like waves crashing on rocks, indifferent to the shivering people who passed beneath it. In the dim streetlight near the emergency room of St. Margaret's Hospital, a man crouched by the side entrance, soaked to the bone, his clothes clinging to him like wet paper, his hands shaking not just from the cold but from exhaustion. Most walked past him with wide steps or disgusted glances. But not her. Emily Carter, a tired nurse with blistered feet and barely $2 in her pocket, paused. She saw more than a man in rags, she saw pain. Hunger. Desperation. The kind she understood all too well. Heartbreak. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of the human heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Stories Collection. Your support helps us spread stories that matter. Heartbreak. Emily had finished a brutal double shift. Her scrubs were stained, her hair was a mess, and she had a rent notice waiting for her at home. But when she saw the man shivering, something inside her refused to look away. She took off her scarf and gently wrapped it around him. He flinched, startled, and looked up at her with glassy eyes. She crouched beside him, ignoring the puddle soaking into her knees. Her voice was soft, warm. "You'll catch pneumonia out here." The man barely spoke, only nodded slowly. She didn't ask questions. She offered him a hot sandwich from her bag, her only food for the day, and insisted he come inside for warmth. Hospital policy forbade loiterers, especially ones who looked homeless, but Emily had long since stopped obeying rules that conflicted with her heart. She snuck him into the staff break room when no one was looking, handed him an extra pair of socks from her locker, and even brewed a cup of tea from her own supply. He tried to thank her, but she shook her head. "Don't thank me. Just pay it forward someday." She didn't know his name. He didn't offer one. She assumed he was just another lost soul swallowed by the cruel tide of city life. When he disappeared before morning, she thought she'd never see him again. And she didn't expect to. Her life had no room for fantasies. Emily was drowning. Her mother was sick and needed medication she couldn't afford. Her landlord was threatening eviction. She picked up extra shifts, skipped meals, and cried in the supply closet when the stress became unbearable. There were days she wanted to give up, when it felt like the world was built to crush people like her. But she held on, because of moments like that rainy night. Because kindness, even if it cost her something, made her feel alive. Weeks turned to months. The incident faded into memory, like a blurry dream. Until one spring afternoon, a flurry of murmurs filled the hospital halls. A luxury black car had pulled up outside. Out stepped a sharply dressed man, handsome, tall, exuding power and wealth. Nurses gawked. Doctors whispered. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. But he wasn't looking for anyone except Emily Carter. She was in the pediatric ward, soothing a crying child, when the head nurse came running. "Emily, there's someone here to see you, he says it's urgent." Confused and embarrassed by her appearance, Emily walked to the lobby, and froze. The man standing there smiled as if seeing the sun rise. He pulled something from his coat, a faded, stained scarf. Her scarf. Her knees nearly buckled. It was him, the man from the alley. But how? He didn't look like a homeless man anymore. Not even close. His voice, rich and clear, sent a chill through her spine. "I didn't forget. You saw me when I was invisible. You fed me when you were hungry yourself. You wrapped me in warmth when no one else dared to look at me. I've spent the last few months trying to find the courage to come back, because I knew, from that moment, I never wanted to let you go." He introduced himself. Nathaniel Blake, CEO of a global tech firm, worth hundreds of millions. That night, He explained, he had walked away from a lavish gala, disgusted by the arrogance of the wealthy. He had decided to disguise himself for a week, to remind himself what struggle looked like, what humanity felt like. And in that moment, on the cold wet pavement, he had found more humanity in Emily than he had ever known among his peers. Emily didn't know what to say. Her mind was spinning. She didn't feel beautiful or special, just exhausted, underpaid, and overwhelmed. But he didn't care about any of that. He saw her for who she really was, a woman of strength, compassion, and unshakable integrity. He returned the scarf to her hands and got down on one knee. A tiny velvet box appeared in his palm. In your kindness, I found myself. In your selflessness, I found hope. I don't care about what you have or don't have, I care about you. Will you marry me, Emily? The hospital went silent. A patient in a wheelchair gasped. A doctor dropped his clipboard. Tears welled in Emily's eyes as her trembling hand covered her mouth. She didn't care about the diamonds or the press cameras already snapping from outside the windows. In that moment, she remembered her mother's words from childhood, "Give love, even if the world forgets to give it back. One day, it will return tenfold." She whispered, "Yes." And the entire hospital erupted in applause. Months later, Emily stood in a white dress under a garden arch lit by fairy lights. Her mother was there, healthy and smiling after receiving full treatment. Former patients, fellow nurses, and even that little boy from the pediatric ward sat among the guests. Nathaniel, her once anonymous stranger, had turned her life around, not just with money, but with love, purpose, and a shared dream to build clinics for the underprivileged. Together, they poured their resources into helping those no one saw, just like she once helped him. They traveled, they healed others, and they never forgot where it all began. In the rain, outside a hospital, when a broke nurse saw past the rags and gave something more valuable than gold, kindness without condition. Ring if this story touched your heart, if it made you cry, smile, or believe again in love and second chances. Please like this video, comment your favorite part, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Stories Collection. Your support helps keep these stories alive. Ring. Memo special request. Before you go, drop a comment below. What would you have done if you were in Emily's place that rainy night? Would you have stopped? Your words might inspire someone else. Of course. Here's a continuation and deeper emotional development of the story above, expanding it further to suit the structure and emotional pacing of a 6,000-word YouTube story, while maintaining realism, cinematic flow, and heartwarming inspiration. The wedding wasn't the end, it was just the beginning of a new chapter, one built on honesty, quiet strength, and a shared mission. After the whirlwind of press coverage and social media buzz died down, Emily and Nathaniel retreated from the noise. They bought a modest farmhouse on the outskirts of town. Not a mansion, not a penthouse, but a place with soft grass, wide skies, and enough quiet for healing. Emily had never cared for glitz. She'd grown up in the inner city, raised by a single mother who taught her how to stretch a dollar, how to treat people with dignity, and how to sleep at night with a clear conscience. Even as Nathaniel offered her the world, Emily never forgot her roots. But now, she had resources. And she knew exactly where to direct them. Their first project was a free clinic in the Bronx, named the Carter Hope Center. Emily insisted it be built where the need was greatest, in the very neighborhoods she used to walk through after her night shifts, passing mothers with sick children and no insurance. She didn't just fund the clinic, she worked in it, alongside a small team of doctors and nurses who shared her values. Nathaniel handled the logistics and infrastructure. Emily handled the heart. She was back in scrubs, sleeves rolled up, hair tied in a ponytail, holding trembling hands, stitching wounds, comforting the sick and hopeless. The patients didn't see her as a millionaire's wife. They saw her as one of them. And she was. She had once stood in line for food stamps. She had once cried in a supply closet because she couldn't afford her mother's insulin. And she never wanted to forget that. Nathaniel, too, changed. Before meeting Emily, he had spent his life behind tinted windows and glossy boardroom tables, talking in spreadsheets and stock values. But now, he stood in broken buildings, speaking with parents who hadn't seen a doctor in years. He shook hands with former addicts, listened to veterans, funded job training programs, and created scholarships in Emily's name. The man who once thought philanthropy was just good PR now understood that impact mattered more than image. Still, it wasn't always perfect. There were challenges. The clinic faced delays. Contractors bailed. Permits stalled. At one point, they lost nearly half the funding when a key investor backed out. Emily cried that night, wondering if she'd failed her community. But Nathaniel held her close and whispered, "You didn't fall, you fought. And we're not done yet." Together, they kept going. They sold Nathaniel's third vacation property to cover the gap. And slowly, day by day, they saw results. Lines outside the clinic turned into success stories. A teenage girl recovering from an abusive home. A homeless man finally diagnosed and treated for diabetes. A pregnant mother who gave birth to a healthy baby in their care. Every smile, every heartbeat, made the struggle worth it. One evening, almost a year after their wedding, Emily found herself back at St. Margaret's Hospital. She had returned to donate new equipment and offer scholarships to the nursing staff. As she walked through the same halls where she used to mop up blood, the memories flooded in, the exhaustion, the smell of antiseptic, the sting of judgment from people who never saw her full worth. But now, people turned their heads for a different reason. Nurses waved with admiration. Patients whispered her name like a blessing. The same break room where she once hid a shivering man in rags now bore a plaque, in honor of the moment compassion changed two lives forever. But there was one moment Emily couldn't shake, one that haunted her quietly. The night she gave Nathaniel her sandwich and scarf, he had looked at her with broken eyes. She remembered asking herself afterward, what if I had ignored him? What if I had chosen comfort over courage? That thought sat in her chest like a quiet weight. So one afternoon, Emily recorded a video message for the world, raw, unfiltered. She sat on the porch of their farmhouse, no makeup, a simple sweater wrapped around her. Birds chirped in the background. Nathaniel was behind the camera, holding it steady. "I'm not a hero," she began. "I was just tired and broken trying to survive, when I saw someone hurting more than me. And I almost walked away. But I didn't. And that choice changed everything. Not just for him, but for me. So if you're watching this, maybe you're working a job that drains you, maybe life's been cruel, maybe you feel invisible, please, don't let this world make you hard. Your heart still matters. Kindness still matters." She wiped away a tear and smiled. You never know whose life you're touching, or whose heart you might be healing, just by showing up with love. The video went viral overnight. People from all over the world sent messages, nurses, waiters, mothers, teachers, even former convicts. They shared how they, too, had chosen compassion in small moments. The story became more than a viral clip, it became a movement. A ripple of kindness stretching far beyond the Bronx. And as the seasons turned, Emily and Nathaniel welcomed a child into the world, a baby girl they named Grace. In her eyes, they saw a future worth fighting for. They promised to raise her with the same values that brought them together, humility, courage, and the unshakable belief that love, no matter how quietly it shows up, can move mountains. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was real. It reminded people that you don't need wealth to be worthy. That the smallest act of kindness, a sandwich, a scarf, a warm glance, could rewrite someone's entire destiny. And now, as the sun sets behind that quiet farmhouse, a new story begins. Sparkling heart, if this story touched your soul, if it made you believe in love, second chances, or the power of one kind act, please show your support by liking this video, sharing it with a friend who needs hope, and subscribing to Stories Collection. Your engagement keeps us telling the stories that inspire the world. Sparkling heart. Memo: before you go, please comment below. What is one small act of kindness someone once did for you that you'll never forget? Your story might be the light someone else needs today.